Hey sir, good day everyone. My report is about local legislation. So ano ba ini ang local legislation? Asya ini aton harampangan niya na. So, ang local legislation kanang mga ordinansa na sa LGU na ordinances meaning mga balaod nga gihimo sa sangguniang bayan or mga konsehal ng lungsod or mayor. Ang ginhimo na ordinansa ay para liwat iton san kaupayan sa mga tao sa lungsod. Ang lokal na pamahalaan ay binubuo ng lalawigan ng lungsod, munisipyo at barangay. Meaning and importance of local legislation. What is local legislation? Local legislation can be understood in two ways, as a power and a process. Local legislation as power. A local legislation refers to the power of a local legislative body to make rules of the form of ordinances and resolution of local application that have the force and effect the law. So, ibig sabihin na may sira power para maaprubahan ang mga ordinansa at magpasa ng mga resolusyon para masiguro ang effective na operasyon sa pamamalakad ng local government. Aprubahan ang mga ordinansa ukol sa penalties for violation and provincial ordinances. For example, sa mga ordinansa, taxes, fees of changes, measure to maintain peace and order para sa mapayapang kapaligiran. Apin na din hiya ang paglaan ng pundo para sa mga scholars, student ng lungsod. By the way, ang resolution pati ordinances ay magkaiba. Ang resolution, for example, the law that implemented to the entire city. Just like kunwari nagpa-implement maging MGCQ na ang Kalbayog. So, that is a resolution. Tikang saan local government and mere impression of opinion or statement of local legislative body. Ang ordinances naman, example saan ordinansa, magpatupad curfew hanggang 10 PM. So, kailangan pag 10 PM ada ka na sa sulod sa balay. Beware of dogs. So, dapat sundon mo iton. Kaya kung diri mo iton siya sundon nga mga ordinances, may penalties na ang kung hindi masunod. So, that is a ordinances. So, next is local legislation as process. Local legislation is the interaction of the local legislative body with the executive branch of civil society including constituents, non-government organization, and the private sector, resulting in the ordinances and resolution that promote the development of the local government unit or LGU. The product of outputs of this interaction are ordinances of resolution. So, ang paggawa ng batas sa Pilipinas mula sa panukalang batas ng tungong batas republika at makikipag-ugnayan sa sangay ng pamahalaan, executive, legislative, and judiciary. Kasama na din ang mga mamamayan, private and public sector, at sangguniang panglungsod para sa paghimo ng ordinansa ang resolusyon para makahimo development ang LGU. Sa unang pagbasa, pangalawang pagbasa, ikatlong pagbasa, at magiging isang batas na. So, next slide. So, why is local legislation is important? Local legislation is important because it is a powerful, vital tool for addressing the problem of citizens of the LGU, promoting a general welfare and development of LGU and its citizens, and attending the vision of LGU for its citizen. Local legislation is a tool for operationalizing Section 16 of 1991 Local Government Code LGC of the General Welfare Clause, which cover the following aspect. So, ayon sa Republic Act number 7160, ginhimo ini nga batas ang Act Providing a Local Government Code of 1991. noong October 10 of 1991. Siya naging Code of 1991 ini siya. So, ayon sa Section 16 of General Welfare, dapat gamitin ng bawat unit ng lokal ng pamahalaan ang kanilang kapangyarihan para magawa ng batas, para maging effective governance. And those which are the essential to the promotion of general welfare ay: first is preservation of enrichment of culture. So, pangangalaga sa at pagpapayaman ng ating kultura. Promotion of health and safety. Pagpataguyod ng kalusugan at kaligtasan. Enhancement of the right of the people to the balanced ecology. Pagpapayaman ng karapatan ng mga tao sa isang balancing ekolohiya. Encouragement of the support to development of appropriate and the self-reliance technology capabilities. So, ang paghikayat ng pagsuporta sa pagbuo ng angkop ng pag-asa sa kakayahan ng mga teknolohiya. So, 5 is improvement of public morals. So, pagpapabuti ng publiko ng may mabuting asal. Enhancement of economic prosperity and social justice. So, pagpahusay ng kaunlarang pang-ekolohiya at katarungang panlipunan. 7 is promotion of full employment among the residents. Pagpapatayo ng mga establishment para sa mga residente at magkaroon ng mga trabaho. Last is maintenance of peace and order as well as the preservation of comfort and convenience of the inhabitant. So, pagpanatili ng kapayapaan at kaayusan. Ngayon din ang pangalaga sa mga naninirahan. So, next. Who makes local legislation? Local legislation is a participatory process. It's acquire legitimacy and social acceptability through the involvement of stakeholders in the LGU. In this context, stakeholders are group, organizing and individuals who have a stake or whose interests will be affected by the process of making laws or policies. Local legislation is made by the stakeholders in the LGU, the Sangguniang or local legislative body, local chief executive, including local government executive, the constituents, the civil society organization, non-governmental organization, and people organizations, the private sector, and other interest group. So, ang mga stakeholders, meaning ito na mga tao or grupo nga affected sa mga panghitabo dida sa lungsod. Pakitag interest sa mga panghitabo ng lungsod. Example, mga sangguniang bayan. Ito na mga sangguniang bayan, ada sa City Hall o munisipyo, sila ang nagpapatuman ng mga ordinances o mga rules para sa bugos nga lungsod. Local chief executive or ang mayor. Mga mamamayan sa lungsod, api iton ira opinion, agree ba or disagree. Sa ipapatuman ng mga ordinansa sa lungsod, ang mga people organization like farmer association sa mga barangays, kung nanon ira opinion, kung magkamayda bago na ordinansa. Local legislative power. Sangguniang panlalawigan for the province, vice governor. Sangguniang panglungsod for the city is city vice governor. Sangguniang bayan for the municipality, municipal vice mayor. Sangguniang barangay for the barangay is a punong barangay. So, sira ang mga presiding officer, bali sira ang may power nga mag-leader para magkamayda mahusay na kaalaman sa mga pamamaraan ng pagboto. In the event of the inability of the regular presiding officer to preside at a sangguniang session, in a members present and and constituting a quorum shall effect from among themselves. A temporary presiding officer, he shall certify within 10 days from the passage of ordinances enacting and resolution adopted by the Sanggunian in the session over which the temporary presided. So, in the event kung wala ang presiding officer para mag-lead sa Sangguniang session, kung sino ang ada na member, siya ang temporary presiding officer within 10 days. Nga matima ito na ordinansa ang resolution na binubuo ng Sangguniang Lungsod. Bali, temporary ang presided kung wala ang presiding officer. Local legislative process, power, and function of Sanggunian. So, there is a 5 session of Sanggunian. First is inaugural session, regular session, special session, adjourned session, sine-die session. So, inaugural session, the first session of the Sanggunian upon the assumption of office of its member. So, dinhi magkakatirok ang mga members sa Sanggunian, apin na dinhi ang mga mayor, councilor, harampangan nga magkamay da session in the next day para ipatupad ito na ordinansa. The next is regular session. Refers to succeeding sessions, time, date, and place, which is the already been fixed and agreed upon the members during the inaugural session. So, din sa regular session, kung nano ang naharampangan na date and time sa inaugural session, dinhi igmi-meeting ang gintatawag na regular session. Special session refers to the session in between in regular session which is being called for special purposes. So, sa special session naman, dinhi na magmi-meeting sa special session, harampangan kun nano ang purpose sa ordinansa. An agenda in between sa regular session called special session. Adjourned session refers to the session which is being adjourned from hour to hour or from day to day due to the absence of a quorum. So, sa adjourned session naman, kunwari, waray ka maka-attend during special session, maglaan oras para igyakan sa imo ang igyakan sa imo asyang gintawag na adjourned session. Sine-die session refers to the session which has been extended beyond midnight or 12 noon for even beyond the next day without adjournment. The term sine-die means without day, and therefore of the session started the Monday but was extended up to next day or Tuesday. Without adjourned, the record would show that the day of the session conducted was still Monday, although actually the day is Tuesday. So, din sa sine-die session, kung waray matima ang adjourned session, maabutan pa pagkabuwas, asyang gintatawag na sine-die session. 3 reading principle. The so-called 3 reading principle, which is commonly adopted in legislative bodies, shall also be followed by this Sanggunian. Hence, as a general rule, before an ordinance is finally enacted, it shall undergo the following stages: first reading, second reading, and third reading. So, bago ipatupad ang ordinance or resolution, maagianay sa first reading, second reading, third reading, o sa ini na role sa aton legislative body. Roles in the enactment of ordinances and adoption of resolution. Article 147 IRR of Republic Act 7160. Legislative Action of general and permanent character shall be enacted in the form of ordinances, while those are of temporary character shall be passed of the form of resolution. Matters relating to proprietary function and to private concern shall also be act upon by resolution. So, ayon sa Republic Act 147, Article 147, Republic Act 7160, ang resolution ay isang pagpapahayag ng mga opinyon o damdamin sa mga legislative bodies sa mga bagay na kaugnay ng proprietary function of private sector concern. Ito ay may pansamantalang karakter lamang. Ibig sabihin, pwede pa baguhon na ang resolusyon. So, be proposed ordinances and resolution shall be writing and shall contain an assigned number, a title or caption, an enacting or ordinating clause, and date of its proposed effectivity. In addition, every proposed ordinance shall be accompanied by brief explanatory notes containing the justification of its approval. It shall be signed by the author or authors and submitted to the Secretary to the Sanggunian before the start of the regular session, local chief executive. So, ang proposed ordinances and resolution ay dapat may nakasurat na assigned number, title and date, kung sano ipatupad. Ngan dapat may the exclamatory notes like whereas Republic Act 7160. Ngan sa authors kung sino ang nagpapatupad sa ordinansa. Kunwari ang DILG. Nagpapahimo sira rule and regulation about promoting peace and order. Kailangan anay iton may pirma nira bago isubmit sa Secretary of Sanggunian before mag-start ang regular session. Next. A resolution shall be enacted in the same manner prescribed for an ordinance. Expect that it shall not go through a third reading for its final consideration unless decided otherwise by a majority of the Sanggunian members present. So, ang resolution ay pwedeng hindi na ito dumaan sa third reading rules process, maliban na lang kung kailangan ito ng sanggunian na dumaan pa sa third reading. No ordinances or resolution shall be considered on second reading in any regular meeting unless it has been reported out by the proper committee to which it was referred or certified as urgent by the local chief executive. So, kung waray pa ma-approve ang ordinance or resolution, hanggang second reading lang siya. Bisan diin na regular meeting, maliban na lang kung unreport na sa committee, kung ikadto na sa local chief of executive. Letter A. Any legislative matter duly certified by the local chief executive as urgent, whether or not it's included in the calendar or business, may be presented and considered by the body of the same meeting without need of suspending the rule. So, bisan nano na mga ordinansa ng pamahalaan, maagi itong permi sa local chief of executive or mayor agad-agad. Bisan nano na adlaw, basta dili lain siya ma-suspended. F is the Secretary to the Sanggunian shall prepare copies of the proposed ordinances or resolution in the form it was passed on the second reading, and shall distribute to each Sanggunian members a copy therefore, except that a measure certified by the local chief executive concerned as urgent may be submitted for the final voting immediately after the debate or amendment during the second reading. So, ang Secretary of Sanggunian should prepare the copies of proposed ordinances and resolution para ipasa sa second reading ngantagan copy kada Sanggunian members. Ang Chief Executive naman ang magpapatawag urgent meeting para dinhi magvo-vote na Sa ipatupad na ordinansa, pwedeng magdebate, ngan kahuman magdebate ang secretary maghimo na amendments kung nano ang result sa second reading. Enforcement of disapproved ordinances or resolutions. Any attempt to enforce any ordinance or any resolution approving the local government plan and public investment program after the disapproval thereof shall be sufficient ground for the suspension or dismissal of the any or employee concerned. So, kunwari, ang ordinance or resolution is na disapprove. Hindi na ito kailangan ipa-approve sa local chief of executive, maliban na lang kung ang resolution ay tungkol sa local development plan at public investment plan. Effectivity of ordinances or resolutions. Unless otherwise stated in the ordinance or the resolution approving the local development plan and public investment program, the same shall take effect after 10 days from the date of copy thereof is posted in a bulletin board and entrance of the provincial capital or city, municipal or barangay hall, and at least two other conspicuous places in a local government concern. So, kung ang imo ordinansa or resolution ay tungkol sa local development plan or public investment ay na maaprubahan, maghulat taliwa 10 days bago siya i-publish or i-post sa bulletin board sa City Hall. The secretary to the sanggunian concerned shall cause of posting of ordinance or resolution in the bulletin board in the entrance of the provincial capital and the city, municipal or barangay hall in at least 2 conspicuous places in a local government unit concerned not later than 5 days after approval thereof. Kung ang secretary of sanggunian ang magpo-post sa ordinance or resolution sa bulletin board sa City Hall, munisipyo or barangay hall, 2 days anay sa LGU, ngan kailangan diri maglagpas sa 5 days igpo-post na after approval sa LGU. So next, letter C, the gist of all ordinances with penal sanction shall be published in a newspaper or general circulation within the province where the local legislative body concerned belongs. In the absence of any newspaper or general circulation within the province, posting of such ordinances shall be made in all municipalities and cities of the province where the sanggunian of or origin is situated. So, ang final na nga naka-statement sa ordinansa may approval na sa legislative bodies of the city, i-publish na iton siya sa newspaper bulletin board. Yan na kay may social media naman, so sa social media ito na siya i-post. Letter D, the case of highlights overnight city, the main features of the ordinances of resolution any July acted of adopted shall be addition to belong posted be published once in a local newspaper of general circulation within the city, provided that in the absence of thereof the ordinances of resolution shall be published in any newspaper or general circulation. So kung na-urbanize na ang city, example, ang Calbayog, may FM radio na, pwede liwat para pangdagdag sa information ngan magkamay da bago na ordinansa sa syudad. So, flow chart of legislative process. Ini ang flow chart sa paghimo ordinance o resolution. So, first is proposed measure ordinances and resolution coming from the members from the concerned committee. So, filing a bill sa sponsored dinhi, kailangan maihain ng bill sa sanggunian. Ang mga bahagi ng bill ay kailangan may title, preamble, whereas clause, content, at may date of effectivity. So, sunod is log of record of secretary. Sunod is first reading. Dinhi sa first reading, babasahin ng secretary ang sanggunian ng title, ang proposed bill, at ang pangalan ng author nito ay siyang legal sa mga committee na naayon sa proposed bill. Susunod, committee hearing. So, committee hearing, dito mangyayari ang deliberasyon, mag-aproba o himuan na amendment ang mga nilalaman ng proposed bill. So, public hearing. Din sa public hearing, pwede magpalit o pag-isahin ang provision ayon sa paksa ng bill. So, sunod is committee meeting. Ang committee meeting ay kailangan maghanda ang report para sa second reading. So, sunod is second reading. Second reading na. So, dito, babasahin dito ang kabuuan ng isa-submit na report ng committee. Pwedeng magkaroon ng debate at sa mga nilalaman at patupad na ordinansa o report at mapagawa ang mga amendment ayon sa napagkasunduan ng mga mamabatas. Kahuman niton, mag-print ang final copy sa secretary. Susunod is third reading. Third reading na. Huling proseso bagong mapasa ang provision. So, dito wala nang debate o amendment na maganap. Ngunit may title ng proposed bill ay kailangan basahin at ang mga tanong sa pag-approve ay kailangan matugunan. Ipamamahagi ang kopya at butuhan na naman dito. Bibigyan ng pagkakataon ng bawat mambabatas na ipaliwanag ang boto. So, kapag nanalo ang yes, approve na sa second reading. Kapag lamang pa rin ang yes sa second reading, approve na para mag-third reading. At tuluyan ang ipasa, approve na sa mayor, dito tuluyan ng maging isang ganap na lokal na batas. And that's it. Thank you.